Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by outsourcing around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. So when you buy from American Giant, you're taking a stand for hardworking people, local communities, and quality clothes. American Giant directly supports American manufacturers and ensures you aren't footing that tariff bill. Support American-made, tariff-free clothing with American Giant with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at american-giant.com.
In a so-called free state, officials and stakeholders concoct solutions to problems often created by other bureaucrats and with little regard for infringements on the people. These stories are born at the apex of freedom and entrepreneurship. We foolishly advocate for the taxpayer. Brian's Beat presents Freedom Fools.
Hour 2 of Freedom Fools. And we're going to be looking over something that we talked about on Thursday evening. It's a sick story when you think about it. I question what the remedy could be, and I'm going to ask you about it when we come back on Freedom Fools. First, let's take a look at the Brian's Beat quote of the day from Alexander Hamilton. The nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one. The nation which can prefer disgrace to danger is prepared for a master and deserves one. I think Hamilton had it right. He may have been wrong to get into that duel on July 11, 1804. But I think he was right there with his quote. So, I brought it up on Thursday evening. A friend had reached out to me, and she told me that her baby's daddy has a daughter from a previous marriage, and that daughter in high school ended up getting into a relationship with a teacher. Yes, a teacher. High school student, high school teacher. And the daughter did not reveal this information to anybody in the family. It turns out that the daughter's brother just happened to notice a message or phone call from the teacher on the daughter's phone. I don't have any idea if he confronted his sister about that or not. But the brother did talk to the father. And as you can imagine, father had steam coming out of his ears. So my first thought was, you got a case here of statutory rape. Well, come to find out, or at least as much as anyone can find out at this particular time, because quite frankly, the daughter doesn't really want to talk. She's been sulking in her room because now that this information is out, and apparently the particular school in question has taken what it would at least seem an immediate appropriate action. The question that's looming is, did anything happen before the girl reached the age of 16? Because here in the Commonwealth, if you are 16 years old, you can have a relationship with a school employee. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, you got to be kidding me. 16 years old, that's too young. I won't argue that. I will tell you even more. In the Commonwealth, because of other incidents, in particular one that took place out in Pittsfield numerous times, where a school employee out there was known to have groomed young girls prior to the age of 16, but did not have sex with them until they attained the age of 16. Now there is a bill up on Bacon Hill that would make it illegal for teachers, school employees, to have sex with students 16 and 17. And I wonder if that even extends to 18. What do you do? Because there are many seniors in high school that have already reached the age of 18. Certainly if they stayed back a year. But even as you go through the school year, before that school year ends, before you get to the end of May, many a student has turned 18 from 17. So I don't know. I do know that 18, you are an adult here in the Commonwealth. You may not be able to buy alcohol. You may not be able to buy cigarettes. You may not be able to buy pot, but you can certainly go on trial as an adult. And so the question looms, should the legislature pass this bill making it illegal for teachers to have sex with someone under the age of I'm going to say under the age of 18. 508-996-0500. There are so many little twists and turns to that. You can be 16 years old and consent to sex outside of the school atmosphere. And I would bring this to your attention. We're talking about school employees right now. And please, don't get me wrong. I think this is bad. But it's, if you point the finger and say it would make it illegal for teachers or school employees to have sex with students 16 and up, and I'm going to say 16 and 17, I don't think you could do that with 18-year-olds, but who knows? Laws are always changing. What about police officers? What about firefighters? What about hospital employees? I mean, are we going to just limit this to school employees? While I think that school employees are adults and should know better, what do you do with the male student that comes on to the female teacher or male teacher in this day and age? See, all the different things that are taught in school right now, I'm not sure that kids really know what's up and what's down. If they think this is okay or don't think, or if they know what the law actually reads. It's a confusing time for kids. And I would say that no teacher, no school employee should be in a sexual relationship with any student. But now it comes down to the nitty-gritty of making a law. And what about the 18-year-olds that are in school? They're 18, they're adults. They can make that decision. And the Commonwealth of Massachusetts already has laws on the books that says that a 16-year-old can consent to have sex with another person 16 or older. So if nothing else, I see these two laws, if the law that's pending, or the bill, I should say, pending in the legislature ever comes to fruition and passes, it's going to be butting up against another law. All of a sudden, you're going to go through appeals courts and then make your way up to the state Supreme Judicial Court. It's going to be a big mess. It's going to be a huge mess. So how would you go about fixing this situation? Again, understanding that we are, a week plus removed from celebrating independence? How would you try to make it work? Can you? Can you make it work? So the friend's baby father, daughter, she's missing the guy that she had been with, the teacher. She doesn't want to talk. This, on the surface, seems like a case where she was in to the teacher. I don't know what the teacher was thinking, not trying to get into his head, don't want to be in his head. I think his head was really warped. I don't see this, from what I'm hearing, as a situation where the young woman may have been naive, but she wasn't really forced into anything. And she's over the age of 16. To the best of our knowledge, nothing happened prior to 16. So what would you suggest? In a conversation, I said, I think counseling is certainly going to be a necessary thing. Because now she is, she's done with that school. That teacher is probably done with that school. If the teacher has a family, a wife, my guess is that's a history lesson. This just all tangled up. And I know, at least talking to my friend, because, she is with the baby daddy and sees the baby daddy's daughter just moping around. This is not a good situation. If you're asking the question to yourself and not to me, I'll just let you know that the parties involved have reached out to legal counsel. So this isn't something that, may have happened. This is something that is real life, pretty damn close to the backyard. 508-996-0500. So there's a law. There's a law in the books right now that if you are 16 years old, here in the Commonwealth, you can have a sexual relationship with a school employee. Should that law be changed? Should it be you have to be 18? Should it be, doesn't matter if you're 18, if you're still involved in that school, it's forbidden? Boy, I would love, I know that there are attorneys out there that would love to see a law like that, because they would go into court and argue it. And unless the other laws are changed, they're going to win. They're going to win. So this is why I'm asking you. This is where we are, July 12, 2025. Things always seem simple when we get out of bed in the morning, but once we get the shoes tied, all of a sudden, there's something else going on. And as we can see, this is pretty big stuff. I don't know if you're going to hear about it in the news, see it on TV. I don't know. I'm only dispensing enough information as I can to protect all parties at this particular time. You might say, why am I doing that? Because, quite frankly, I think it's the right thing to do at this particular time. 508-996-0500. That's how you get onto the program today.
When the people fear the government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, there is liberty.
We can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore.
Well, actually, Mr. President, right now, birthright citizenship has come to a roadblock. But it doesn't mean your attorneys won't pick up the ball and try to fight and bring this all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court, which, sadly, I think that's where it's going to end up. I think that we would be better off. Look, I like the law the way that it's written, the 14th Amendment. I also believe that if the Supreme Court is constructionist when it comes to the Bill of Rights and the amendments and the Constitution, they will read it. It's in plain language and say that, yes, the people here do deserve that. I don't know that that's how they're going to vote, but it is in pretty simple, plain language. That stated, who knows how the presenters are going to be on that date when they stand in the well at the U.S. Supreme Court to argue their case. But bringing it back home, as huge as birthright citizenship is here in the Commonwealth, there's a fight over whether or not to allow kids to have cell phones on and on their person during school. There's a bill in the state Senate. It passed one round on, I believe, last Tuesday. The full Senate is expected to vote on it, and it would basically ban cell phone use in schools from the first bell to the last bell. Frankly, I think that each school district can make up their own mind about whether or not they want their students to have cell phones or not. I don't know why we have to have a sweeping law from North Adams all the way down to P-Town. I think each district can make. Why do we pay superintendents of school these large sums of money, $100,000, $150,000, $200,000 plus, and then not let them make that type of decision, or at least make a presentation to their respective school committees in order to say, yeah, we need to do this cell phone ban. How do we write it up to make it foolproof for our particular city or town? Simple enough. We have quite a few school districts already. I believe New Bedford has a ban. I know Dartmouth has I was going to say quasi ban, but they've got a ban. Why can't they make up their own decision? Why do the folks on Bacon Hill, and when they do it up on Bacon Hill, there's going to be, this committee's got to look at it, and then we got another committee, and then we're going to leave the power over to DESE, but we'll have to have an overseer over there. It's going to cost more money. It's going to cost more money. Let the local folks handle it. 508-996-0500. Hello.
Hello, Brian.
Hey.
How are you?
Wangin'.
Winging and wanging, as always. Did you see what happened in Nantucket?
With the blades?
Oh, yeah.
I read about it. I didn't see anything.
Well, apparently, 2 or 3 of the blades just flew off into the ocean, and they landed up on the shores of Nantucket.
Beaches.
Yes.
Yes. It closed down beaches, and
yes, it did.
And Nantucket has settled for $10 million. $10
million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, and my question to you is, remember the big staging area we got down there by the waterfront?
We still
here
do.
In New Bedford.
Yes.
There's no one there.
No one working.
Vacant. It's vacant.
Yeah, I think it's been like that for several months now.
Yeah, shut down. So the mayor's big, beautiful bill didn't work out.
Big blue bill.
He jumped on the Democratic bandwagon. And where does that get him now? You don't talk about that, but it's something he should bring up.
Well, I think what I don't want to speak for the mayor, but my guess is what he is hoping for is somehow there's going to be a revival of that industry.
You're right. Yeah, don't forget, he was an attorney, wasn't he?
I think he still is.
No, a federal prosecutor, I believe he was.
Yes, he was.
Yes. Yeah, I like the guy. I like him a lot, but he fell into that Democratic trap, man. That's what I thought.
Well,
time these things.
Hold on a second. You say he fell into the Democratic trap. I would question that comment because of the fact that if it is a Democratic trap, it's worked pretty damn well for him.
Oh, yes, it has. I mean, Elizabeth Warren doesn't come down here very often, but our representatives, the waterfront, to take care of that, the fishermen and all that. It seems like a lot of that has gone wayside, even though the fishermen complain that these windmills are really driving whales away. They're driving them crazy. And I guess the sharks don't mind. Other than that, man, the fishermen are hurting because of those windmills.
Absolutely.
He had a big, giant plan that, we're going to do it right. Of course, that would bring a lot of revenue to the city. But now it's shut down. So what does that mean?
Well, I think that there are plans on the drawing board, whether or not the wind industry have faltered or not. I believe that they are trying to make the waterfront less of a working waterfront for fishermen and more of a tourist type working waterfront, restaurants, etc.
Oh yeah. Plant trees, don't fix sidewalks, something like that. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I had to mention that to you, man, because I saw that in the news. I said, you know what? These things are not panning out. A good friend of mine lived in Fairhaven, and they put windmills and illegally too close to the school. They're supposed to be a certain distance. And he says he had to move. The shadows of the blades, he says, it's like watching TV, or what are those things they used to call, back in the 60s, 70s, the flashing light thing there.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking. I don't know what it's called, but I know. I actually saw one of those when I was out in California, and it kind of puts you to sleep. But it's not a good sleep.
No, it's not.
All right,
It's
man.
not.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
I do appreciate the call. 508-996-0500. In case you didn't see it, Nantucket, I believe, settled out of court for 10 million smackers dealing with the blades that came ashore last year. Hello.
Hello. I'm down by the South Terminal right now, and that the windmill program down there is going full tilt. They just lost they didn't lose, they just aren't using 1/3 of the property now. But every day or every other day, the windmills and the generators are going out.
Going out where?
I go by there every day. Out to the windmill off of Nantucket.
I thought that those windmill really stopped turning. I thought there were still problems with it. That's the last I heard.
Oh, I don't know what's happening out there, but out here at South Terminal, they're full going working. The blades are going out every other day, and then the dynamos are going out every fourth day. So if someone wants to just go down to South Terminal, and you can see there's all kinds of activity down there.
So you say they're going out. Where are they going out to?
To Nantucket, to right outside of Nantucket. Because they're still building the platforms out there.
Really? So that part's still going on?
Yes, that part's still going on.
So they're building platforms, but they're not putting up windmills?
That's the windmills, but I don't know about the blades because I haven't gone out there. All I know is that the blades, the dynamos, and all the steel goes out there at least 2 or 3 times a week. The blades go out, and then the dynamos go out. They have about 100 guys working there every day during the week.
And that's a lot fewer than they had before.
Oh, yes.
So, I thought the work had come to a complete halt. Apparently it has not, and I stand corrected. But one thing is for sure, that it's certainly been limited.
Oh, yes.
All right, but you're sure they're going out still?
Yes, I go by there every day.
Why'd you ask for a ride?
No, I don't like the water.
You don't like the water?
No, I don't. And I'm from here. I'm from Martha's Vineyard and New Bedford.
And you don't like the water? How do you live on an island and not like the water? Did somebody spank you over there or something?
Well, I tell you, I'm a Wampanoag from Gay Head, Aquina, and I used to love it up until about 25 years ago. And now there's too many people. And the only time I go to the island is we're having elections in Aquina for the tribes. There's too many people.
Yeah, there are a lot of people. There's no doubt about that, especially during this time of year. But it's not that bad in the wintertime. I mean, I think it's pretty barren over there then. Too expensive.
70% of the population. Oh, my God.
Too expensive. All right, man. Thanks for the call. Thanks for the update.
Okay, buddy.
All right. 508-996-0500. So there you go. 2 different stories. Shutdown. And that the shutdown one is the one that I had heard. And it's been a while since I've actually gone down into that area. And the last time I did go down there, a woman friend and I were driving around, and it was on a Sunday, and we didn't see anybody working that particular day. And so I thought that, what I read was that, work had stopped. Well, all right. I'm sorry. I got it wrong. Won't be the first time. Sure as hell won't be the last. State Senator Jason Lewis is co-chair of the legislature's Joint Committee on Education, which is taking up the thorny issue of cell phones in schools. All the things that are going on, MCAS, whatever. They need to do something about cell phones in schools. Jason Lewis. We just have reached the point where we have really compelling evidence that use of cell phones by young people causes a number of harms for them in terms of their ability to learn, their ability to collaborate and communicate with their peers, and the impact on their mental health. We think that that's particularly true when the devices are used while students are actually in school. Oh, well, why don't you say that we're going to do an open-ended type bill as long as it's constitutional, as long as it's legal? School districts can handle the situation the best way that they want. Let them handle it. We don't need the Jason Lewises of the world. We don't need the Mark Montigny's of the world trying to figure out whether or not kids should be allowed to use cell phones in school. Now, I'm not advocating for cell phone use in school. What I'm trying to say is let the local leaders do their job. Instead of thinking that, well, we need a blanket law across the state. Do we really? Now, it would be different with the case about whether or not a teacher or school personnel can have sex with 16-year-olds. That I can see is something that you would want uniform, want statewide. But the whole thing dealing with cell phones, that's local, that's pretty personal. And I do believe we have some bright minds on school committees, certainly as superintendents and all of their lieutenants that we, the taxpayers, are paying a whole bunch of money for. We might as well let them do their job. And while we're letting them do that job, maybe we can weed out some of the fat that's at the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. That way, more money can filter into the schools. That way, more money may be able to go for transportation. Since that has been a hot topic of conversation about the transportation budget and cutting funding from schools, all that kind of stuff. This is just my thought. If we were to cut some of the fat out of DESE, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, their offices are across the Commonwealth, but the main office is in Malden, Massachusetts, outside of Boston. If we were to make some steep cuts there and restore autonomy to the local school districts, my guess is we would see better outcomes in the classroom. That's just a silly guess on my part. Hello.
Yes, I would like to ask you what you really think about them taking the phones away from the students in school.
What do I think I just answered that. I don't think that the kids should be using them in school. I think that
That's
the
not
local.
what I asked you.
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead. Try again. Maybe I'm missing it.
I'm asking you, are you okay with the school removing their phones from the kids?
I think I think it should be an individual school's policy. Not school, but school district policy.
This is what I would like to see happen. First and foremost, I don't think any school, anyone should take away someone's phone. They need to put the rule down, have all parents to let them know, we're not going to take your child's phone, but we want you to sign this form that says if we catch them, then we take it away. That's the way it should be. You just can't make a law.
No, I kind of like that. So in other words, if they've done something wrong, then punish them, but don't punish everybody.
That's correct.
That makes sense.
And maybe if you catch them with it the first time, then you can give it back to them when they're ready to go home. But if you get caught a second time, you can't bring your phone to school for a whole week. You've got to learn. You got to learn. Now, and what you feel also about, because I've called your names before, and I know that, because that's who I am. I can't change who I am. But I think you're all for these illegal women that come here pregnant, have their babies, and you agree that they should be American citizens when they're born here. When they come from another country, coming here illegally. They came illegally.
They did, so but the baby didn't.
Okay, listen. But the parents did it. Don't blame the child, the parents. But what I'm saying is, when they made all these rules and the amendments and the Bill of Rights, they did that so long ago when the country is not like it is today. Therefore, we need to go over things and make changes. Biden is the one that allowed all this to go on. Illegals coming, murder, mayhem, children getting raped and changing their sexes. We need to go over all these bills of rights and everything and make the changes for the world that we live in today. That was, 1776? The world then was not like it is today. We need to protect ourselves, so we have to do it. What do you think about that?
So I mentioned numerous times. First of all, just a bit of a correction. 1776 was the original Constitution. The 14th Amendment was 1868. So
still a different world.
Oh, absolutely a different world. And I have mentioned numerous times we have to do it constitutionally. So if it means amending the 14th Amendment, and if people are in favor of doing it, I'm down with that program.
Okay, wait a minute. If people are in favor of doing it, why would they not want to protect their country? If they don't want to do it, then they need to go away. No American citizen with any brain in their head is going to have to follow that. We have to make those changes.
Well,
Thank you for taking my call.
You may be right that changes need to be made, but they need to be made properly. I don't believe that a just blanket change of, birthright citizenship is going to pass. I think there are people that want it. I don't know that you have the necessary votes within all of the states in order to make that amendment pass. And I don't know what the actual change would be. The president has stated that at least one person needs to be here in the United States as a U.S. citizen. That seems reasonable to me. I don't know, and I'm going to say this again, I don't know that would pass here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. I don't know that would pass in the state of California. I don't know that you would find 14 other states that would pass that. You may, but that's pretty much what it would take. 508-996-0500. That's how you get on Freedom Fools on WBSM.
And bring about the freedom of these people by any means necessary.
I remember that conversation that my father told me when I was 4 years old. His Israeli boss told him that all of you were created as animals to serve us. And then we were disgusted with the shapes of these animals. We asked God to transform you into human-like animals so that we're not disgusted. I was 4 years old when my father told me this story, and I cannot forget that story.
Now there is a classic example of code of honor feuding. Challenge that person to a duel. Let's see how he talks if you challenge him to a duel. 508-996-0500. Hello.
What's going on?
Wanging.
Hey, man, next time you see a State of the Union address, That's the Epstein list right there. Right in front of your own eyes. What I'm witnessing is that these, like you said, one-party system, they're letting the place get so out of control so that people demand a fix by any means necessary.
There you go.
And as you said, the Constitution, it has its true slavery was back then. Native Americans would treat... A country has a flawed history. That's a pretty decent government document, and everything is there. People have their own certain roles, and it's not being followed. So to demand that the Constitution just be thrown in the trash can for these modern times, I find it absolutely absurd. But that's what a lot of people are demanding.
I think the previous caller, she wants what she considers the bad stuff taken out, but I look at it as what might be bad to her may not be bad to a few other people, and vice versa. And so, I don't want a constitutional convention. I want a maybe amendments. For instance, there are reasonable arguments about amending the Second Amendment. Exactly how, I don't know, and I'm certainly for gun rights, but should the person that's mentally deranged be allowed to carry a gun? I think most people would agree, probably
Brian,
not.
On a gun, when you go buy a gun today, and this is all the way across the U.S., you have the option of choosing, after you sign your name, male, female, or non-binary.
Not anymore.
For non-binary, yes, on every state. I've called up a lot of different states and asked me.
But they've changed since President Trump came out with the order. That's no longer on there. But it was. Well, excuse me. Some states may not have changed it yet, but yes.
Now, what's going on in Texas? The CEO of a company called Rainmaker admitted that they were cloud seeding with silver iodide, which helps to cause rain.
Mm-hmm.
They used it in Vietnam, and then a lot of people are saying, "Oh, that doesn't mean that rain, that system caused all that rain." I don't know. It's just something to throw out there. Things are happening in this world that are completely insane, and I think it's just going to get worse and worse. And that sad story that you said before about that young girl, I think her mommy and her daddy failed her.
How so?
This one with a baby daddy. This one's got a baby daddy mama. The other one's got a baby daddy mama. And these kids are being raised that a father now, his own children are being weaponized against him because of a divorce or whatever. So he's afraid to tell his daughter no. And the daughter wants to be told no. She wants to know what limits. She wants to have a strong father to look up to, because it's going to have her base her relationships with males down the road on the relationship she has with her father.
I got to ask you. You said she wants the father to say no to
excessive behavior.
Well, but the father didn't. In this particular case, the father didn't know about the excessive behavior.
Well, maybe she does not have a good relationship with him.
That's a very good possibility.
For whatever reason, broken families are causing this. And I tell people, you better understand and get to know who you're mating with. Bringing life into this world is no joke. It's no joke, man. And what if we had cell phones at that young age? I don't think we'd be able to handle what that little wireless piece of plastic and its powers and the serotonin and just the pleasure you can derive from it. It's a dangerous technology to put in the hands of children.
The cell phone.
Yes.
Well, I would say this to you. It may be a dangerous technology, but we now have gone more than a generation of kids with cell phones.
Yes, and because they're being trained, because eventually everything's going to be on that little wireless piece of plastic. Your license, your access to your bank account, everything. They slowly funnel it on there, and then the road we're walking on, eventually they're going to tilt it. We're going to slide into a new world without even realizing it. We're not going to be able to walk the road that we're going on. The road's they're going to tilt. They're like, right, mankind is where we want right now. Let's tilt this road. It's like a slide, and we're going to slide into this new world. We're not even going to realize it until we come crashing into it.
Okay. Well, you might be right. I'm not sure that I agree with all that you've stated, but I do believe the majority of people have blinders on about what's going on. And this isn't a Trump-Biden type thing. This is a geopolitical thing. And I mentioned it on Friday's show. Ross Perot called it a giant sucking sound. Basically, sucking out the economy. Well, a giant sucking sound would be, it would be making a lot of noise. Folks aren't hearing it. For instance, we have credit card debt up the yin-yang in this country. People are living off of the credit card. Oh, I get cashback bonuses. They fall for all of that kind of stuff. But the fact of the matter is, every time you use that piece of plastic for whatever reason, good, bad, indifferent, you are paying more money back than what you originally had. And that's taking away from what would normally be your savings and investing money. The fact that our manufacturing has gone left, right, up, down, into the ground, and away from here speaks volumes, because you've got a lot of people, especially in our backyard, that were making a fantabulous living off of that kind of industry. Same with the fishing industry. And now people are looking around because, quite frankly, they don't mind retooling, but they don't know exactly which direction they want to go into to retool. And so it's got them all flustered, just not knowing which way to turn. And then, of course, everybody is paying taxes. Everybody. And you are paying taxes on things that, there is no taxation with some of this representation, or no representation with some of the taxation. There was a revolutionary war, part and parcel, because of just that. But people are too fat and happy. Oh, I can't fight them right now. And so we are where we are. And whether Trump is fighting to change that or a part of that problem and doing so in disguise, it is happening right here in the
Everything from clothing to household items are getting more expensive each day. The world of fast fashion has complicated clothing production by outsourcing around the world to whoever can sew them the cheapest. And now you, the consumer, are paying the price with rising costs. American Giant is about keeping things simple and close to home. They aren't affected by tariffs because their products never leave the U.S. So when you buy from American Giant, you're taking a stand for hardworking people, local communities, and quality clothes. American Giant directly supports American manufacturers and ensures you aren't footing that tariff bill. Support American-made tariff-free clothing with American Giant. Get 20% off your first order when you use promo code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com. That's 20% off when you use code STAPLE20 at American-Giant.com.